Nick with the Peoria River Thor's Day. Thor is not only a superhero, but also the ancient Norse god of thunder. And today we're going to be making little tiny thunder and little tiny lightning with this static electricity machine. And the fact that lightning is electricity was demonstrated in a famous dangerous experiment by Benjamin Franklin a couple hundred years ago, where he flew a kite in a thunderstorm and he had metal attached to the kite. He was able to conduct electricity and make little sparks and fill up a Leyden jar with electricity. And he's lucky that the kite was not struck by lightning, or he might have died. Electricity is very, very dangerous. Like 1,000 people die every year in the United States from electricity. It's not something to play around with. This machine, however, is made to be safe to play around with. So I will not be in any danger with this static electricity machine. Now, static electricity is really easy to generate, and you've probably all experienced it at some point. You can make some static electricity just by taking a rubber balloon and rub it on your hair for a little bit. You build up a static charge, and you can pick up little pieces of paper. The ancient Greeks did this thousands of years ago, not with the rubber balloon, but with amber. And in fact, our word electricity comes to us from the ancient Greek word for amber. And now we know that electricity works just like magnets. You guys have all played with magnets before. Magnets have two ends, and we call them north and south. And these two opposite ends attract each other, so we can get one to jump off the table to the other one, just like we saw with the electricity. With electricity, we have two things called charges, positive and negative, and those opposites attract each other. And the positives come from little tiny things called protons, and the negative charges come from little tiny things called electrons. And these are everywhere because the world is made of atoms, everything's made of atoms, and atoms are made of protons and electrons, and also neutrons, but they don't have an electric charge. And the electrons are on the outside. They're lighter, kind of fluffier, they're easier to move around. That's what's zipping around in our house through the metal wires in our house, through power lines, lighting up our light in here, and in a moment, starting our Graaff generator. So let me turn the light down so we can actually see our little tiny lightning a little bit better with this. I'm going to turn it on, and once the electricity starts flowing through there, it's going to flow past some magnets down here. And then we're going to get the belt to move around, the rubber belt. We'll pick up some electrons from the rolling pin up here, just like the rubber balloon was able to take electrons off of my hair. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine on now. And while we're picking up electrons from that rolling pin, they're being dropped off at the bottom. There's some metal down there. Metal's a good conductor of electricity. The electrons flow very easily through metal. You can hear some crackling. The electrons on the metal sphere are being conducted down to that rolling pin. And so it's building up a charge, a positive charge, because there's more protons than electrons. And I'm going to take this metal jar, a Leyden jar, and see if we can get the electrons attracted through the air over to the Graaff generator and create little sparks, little tiny lightning. And along with the lightning, we also hear little tiny thunder. Sounds like Rice Krispies. Light actually comes from electrons. Electrons moving around, speeding up, slowing down, changing direction is what makes photons come out, makes light come out. So there's our little tiny lightning with a little tiny thunder. The thunder comes from the heat. When the electricity zips across, the air heats up and expands, and we hear a sound wave go by. And even though the electricity is zipping across, the individual electrons are actually moving kind of slow and not even that far. It's not like electrons are jumping from the jar over to the sphere. They're actually just moving a little bit, bumping into another electron, which moves a little bit, bumps into another electron, and so on. So it's kind of like dominoes, where you push the one down and a whole bunch fall down really fast. The electron moves and bumps into another electron, and then the charge goes really fast. And we see electricity. And like I said, this machine is safe to play with, and everything's made of electrons and protons, so I can get some electrons from my body to jump over there, and it doesn't hurt me. It tickles a little bit. Actually, some people don't like the feel of this. Some people like it a lot. So like I said, this specific machine is made to safely play with electricity, so I'm not in any danger here. Just a little tiny shocks, which you probably get just walking around in the winter when the air is really dry. So there's our Van de Graaff generator. Hope you like that. And if you have any questions about it or any suggestions for what to do with it in a future video, go ahead and leave us a comment. I want to thank you for tuning in to the virtual Peoria Riverfront Museum. And as always, thanks to our museum members and Visionary Society members for your support. And I just want to mention one historic thing before I go, something coming up next Wednesday, May 27th, scheduled for 3:33 p.m. It's going to be the first launch of American astronauts from the United States since way back in 2011. 2011 was the last space shuttle launch. We've had Americans in space ever since then. There's an American up there on the International Space Station right now. They just haven't been launching from the United States. But that'll change next Wednesday, May 27th, 3:33 p.m. Two American NASA astronauts are going to be launching on the new spaceship called the SpaceX Dragon from Kennedy Space Center down in Florida. And one of our planetarium educators, Kyle Denny, has VIP access. He will be down there in Florida with his telescope doing a live stream on our Facebook page. So you can tune into that sometime before 3:33. We'll be live streaming before then, talking about it, answering questions. And it'll be not just me and Kyle, but also our planetarium director, Renee Kerrigan. So hopefully you can tune in next Wednesday, May 27th. The launch is scheduled for 3:33 p.m. That's when it's going to lift off. So tune in before then. It's always subject to change, even at the last second, but hopefully we'll see that historic launch next Wednesday. And then I'll see you guys the next day for the next science video. So, see ya.